Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss a book that has been a very interesting read and probably one of the most thought-provoking books I have read in a very long time. Since I bought the book, I was in two minds about it. I was either going to understand the concepts and, grasp what the author is saying, or I was going to completely not understand a single word. So good news, I understood it and it was a really, really good book. But I also understand more about serial killers. The book I'm talking about is A Blueprint of a Killer, Monsters in the Making from Childhood to Murder by Heather Mroczenski. The thing is, we hear about crimes and we read about it in the headlines and we see it in documentaries, but we rarely ask, how does it start? And to be honest, the most disturbing parts of most killers' story isn't the crime. Sometimes it's everything that came before. Let's talk about the concepts, because this is where the book really stands out. This isn't your typical true crime book. You don't immediately know who the killer is, what they did, and how they got caught. Instead, for the first half of the story, you are essentially blindfolded. You don't know the identity of the person, you don't know their name, and you don't even know which crimes they committed. All you are given are fragments of their childhood. These are things like their experiences, their environment, their trauma, and that is exactly what changes everything. Without the label serial killer or monster, you are forced to engage with the story in a different way. You're not judging, you're just observing. And to be honest, sometimes that is very disturbing. This book really leans into the idea that you don't just become violent. There are certain things that happen to you. Now, I just want to be very clear about something, and the book is also very clear about this. This does not excuse violence or crimes that were committed at all. The crimes are discussed, the victims are acknowledged with care. Their lives are not reduced to statistics or to background context and information. And that is something that I really appreciated about this book, because I feel that true crime can sometimes lose the balance. Instead, the book holds two truths at the same time: that these individuals caused real and irreversible harm, and on the other hand, that their paths has been shaped long before they ever committed their first crime. One of the strongest aspects of this book is how it blends storytelling with psychology. Heather Mroczenski, who is a board-certified behavior analyst, brings in aspects of behavioral psychology and more in a way that is understandable but still grounded. You start to understand concepts like how early trauma can affect emotional regulation, how attachment failures can impact relationships later on in life, and how repeated exposure to violence can later on normalize it for a person. And again, it does not simplify this to say they were born evil, but it also doesn't let anyone off the hook. It is more about understanding the complexity of human behavior, and to be honest, this is much more unsettling than just a simple explanation like they were born evil. Reading this was heavy, not just because of the crimes, but because of the build-up as well. There were moments where I caught myself feeling sympathy, but almost immediately after that, you start to question that feeling because you know where the story is going. And that tension between empathy and accountability is something that the author, Heather, creates really, really well in this book. It really forces you to sit in that discomfort. Would I recommend this book? Absolutely. If you enjoy true crime that goes beyond surface level storytelling, if you are interested in psychology and human behavior, and also if you're okay with a book that challenges your assumptions, then this book is absolutely worth reading. This book doesn't just tell you what happened, it asks you to look deeper and ask why. And once you do that, it is so hard to unsee. If you have read this book before, I would love to know your thoughts about it. If you want to see more videos like this, you know where to find me. So I'll see you next week, where I'll tell you all about it.